Lainey is watching and listening while she's eating dinner. Hello, Joan. You're lurking. I'm so glad to see you. I thought you were on vacation, but I'm so glad you're here. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. This is Friday Night Crime. My name is Jill. This is FiberFloozieCrafts. I am working on the granny square blanket tonight. I turned it in, I made these squares to start with, changed my mind and decided I wanted a rectangle. Serbs has got his horn. So welcome everybody. Come on in. We'll give everybody time to get here before we start. Hi, Marilyn. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. We are going to be talking about West Memphis 3. There has been some news today. Hello, Tank. Oh, good. Tank's here. I hope your weather is better today. There's more rain out there. This has been the wettest summer around. Now, we dried out, but we had lightning and rain and stuff to our north. Hello, Lori. Only here for a couple minutes. Gonna go out and do a comedy show and dinner with the hubby. Girl, you go enjoy that. Those kind of things don't come around too often. So you go and enjoy that. That sounds like fun. I've been thinking about trying to get Mr. Fiber to go to a play, because there is a theater group in Abilene. Painting your nails? Cindy, how is it going? A 500-mile lightning strike from Texas to Missouri. Yes, the longest on record. Isn't that crazy? Mimi, oh, hugs, Mimi. Glad to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, made the world record. Sure did. Isn't that crazy? Let's hope no one was on the other end of that. I got a notification from my weather app, is what told me that, Cindy. And I'm sending you hugs too. I know you've been going through some stuff, and I'm so glad to see you. Got my California cup with my black coffee with monk fruit. And this one is French roast. Community coffee French roast. If it's out of New Orleans, it's a French roast, right? So I got New Orleans in my California cup. Two separate, well, they say you only get hit once. Poor guy. Goodness. Can you imagine being struck twice? Somebody needs to change how they're doing stuff. Hello, Puro. Good to see you. Glad you are here. Hello, Dartmouth Mom. He is on the horn. He's a horn dog tonight. Quit licking the carpet, bud. I see you. He is so happy because he got to go for a little walk today. Left with deficits, so he doesn't know how to get. Bless his heart. Oh, that sucks. Hey, Bon Bon. Chronic Lurker. Figured you would say hello this time, and you love my channel. Thank you. thank you so much. I am so happy that you are here. I know there's lots of people who lurk, and hello to you. I see you, and I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate it so very much. I'm just happy you guys come and hang out with me. I'm doing good today. Today has been a good day. And Leanie's watching. She's just lurking. She's here somewhere. She was eating dinner. Yes, please give the thumbs up, y'all. I would appreciate it. And if this is your first time here, Friday nights, we talk about true crime. Now, we talk about true crime on this channel just about any time. I never say no to it. But Friday night, usually we pick a book and we pick a subject or a case and we talk about that. This is a blanket. It's going to be a DK weight blanket. I started out with small squares in the center and turned it into a right rectangle. Instead of putting all the little squares together, I decided to make a rectangle. And I'm using DK weight yarn and a G hook. And the noise you hear is our mascot, Cerberus, and he is chewing on his bison horn, which he now has, I don't know how many, because he has eaten them and got scraps and like ends have come off. There's like 5 or 6 of them laying on my carpet in here. Yes, it's a lot of colors. And they're all different yarn lines, so they're not all from one company. They're all different ones. Just I gathered up a bunch of them that I thought, and I really love how they're turning out. I love how these colors look together. And this is my only blanket. Okay, Mimi. This is my only blanket. I have no other blanket on the go. None. Just this one. Everything else is finished. Yeah, they don't get slimy like the Chewies do, but sometimes you get shreds that come off. The only thing about the shreds is that I mean, I wear shoes in the house all the time because where we are, we have so many bugs and things in here that I just go ahead and wear shoes. I wear my slip-ons, and I'm gonna turn my other air conditioner on. Hopefully it won't bother y'all. Welcome, Dartmouth Mom. Oh, so happy to have you. Thank you so very much for doing that. Hello, Sally. Yes, I'm on, and I think we'll see how this time goes, Sally. I'm hoping that this time will be better for everybody, but I don't want to jump around too much. My normal time will be 4:00 p.m. Central, okay? But the Friday night crew is usually a little bit later. So I think we'll see how this 6:00 Central for Friday Night Crime. We'll see how this works out, you guys. I hope you, judging from how many are here right now, it seems to me that this is a better time for you guys. So let's plan on that for now. But Dartmouth Mom, so very glad to have you. I don't think that I can do, let's see, we'll try. Nope. Nope, I got no effects. I'm trying. I appreciate it though. I got no special effects right now. So, Let me see if I can set this up to look at it. I'm going to get my iPad out here, okay? Because I have pulled a couple of articles. Now, I wanted to tell you about what was new today. Coming out of THV 11. Hi, Nisi. Thank you so much. Okay. THV11.com. This is a local to, it's Little Rock, Arkansas. The West Memphis 3 continue 32-year fight to prove their innocence. Damian Eccles, Jesse Miss Kelly, and Jason Baldwin continue their fight for justice 32 years after they were arrested for the deaths of 3 boys in West Memphis. Christopher Byers, Stephen Branch, and Michael Moore were last seen alive 32 years ago on May 5th of 1993. Shortly after the boys' disappearance, their bodies were found submerged in a ditch. I wanted to get to the man, this is not the updated article I was looking for. Give me a minute. Here it is. Arkansas judge greenlights the new DNA testing in the West Memphis 3 case. So, a Crittenden County judge has approved the testing of new DNA evidence in the decades-long case against the West Memphis 3. In a court document released on Friday, officials said that they would be implementing the additional testing that Damian Eccles seeks on a joint consensual basis. The court order states that all costs associated with the testing will be paid by petitioning parties and lists Eccles, Jesse Miss Kelly, Jason Baldwin, and the Innocence Project as parties that will have access to the labs and technicians that are testing the DNA, as well as to the results of the testing. As for what will be tested, the documents list several hairs that were found on various articles such as pants, body parts, and tree stumps. Recently, a hearing which was listed as the State of Arkansas versus Damian Eccles occurred in July and aimed to focus on the testing of the new pivotal DNA evidence which Eccles and his team continued to fight for over the years. The approval of DNA testing is the latest step in the case. So, new testing has been approved. Now, about 4 months ago is when we learned that there was new evidence. From what I understand, at least part of the evidence was hair that was found on one of the shoelaces that was used to tie up one of the boys. And that hair supposedly belonged to the stepfather of one of the boys. So that's kind of where we were left. Now, if they go ahead and test all of the rest of this stuff, we shall see what happens. And the book, let me see if I can find the book. Well, I don't know why I never can get the stuff to come up when I'm looking for it. Ola Joe, oh my goodness, girlfriend, hugs to you. Hugs to you. I caught some of your little live you did the other day, but I haven't finished it yet. But you look wonderful. I'm so glad you had a good time with your family. We're good. We're doing really good. Oh, so glad you came in. And there's Jax. Hello, Jax. How's it going? Drive-by smooching. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. So glad you came by. I'll take it. I'll take those smooches. Dang it. See, what happens is when I finish a book, for some reason on this platform, it doesn't just show up. I have to go looking for it again. But the lawyer for the boys has written, hi Joyce. There's Joyce. Yes, we have lots of folks here tonight. Okay, I gotta do it different. You know, I get really frustrated with the changing of the platforms. I just get them figured out and then they change them again. And I know it's me being old. I get it. But I do try. Okay. It's called A Harvest of Innocence, the untold story of the West Memphis 3 murder case on audio. Now, I do not know if you can get this through Libby. If anybody knows, let me know. Where did it go? Now it disappeared. But I'll show you what it looks like. A Harvest of Innocence. And this is by Dan Stidham. And he is the lawyer for the West Memphis 3. For 2 of them anyway. Oh, there you go. Hi, Barbara. Absolutely. Crochet away. What is everybody working on and what are you guys drinking tonight? So that's the book that goes along with the story. Now I want to go back to a story from the Independent this is actually from May of 2020, okay? But it's a really good article. Dartmouth Mom doing the hats, Diet Coke, all right. Well, that's weird. I'm sorry, Tank. I hate it when that happens. I saw a little thing there that you looked like you had finished it. I thought you had finished it, Niecy. Her luck at the draw 10. Only a few more rows to go. Cindy says eating pizza, trying not to mess up your nails. Drinking a bai in Zambia Bing cherry flavor. Sally's working on Stephen West's, which one? Smocket shawl. Oh my goodness. Marilyn's got 0 sugar 7-Up. Oh, blanket number 2. Okay. Joyce, yarn motivated Joyce is crocheting a virus shawl from Fiber Spider in a white latte cake and drinking water as per usual. A white latte cake. That's going to be stunning. Marilyn's working on the olive branch shawl. Nice. Oh, Leanie's fixing to tell me what she's got going. Barbara's crocheting a lamb for her granddaughter and drinking water. Wonderful. Yeah, autocorrect. Sometimes it's a little, Hexagon Cardi. Ah, oh, I have one of those in mind. A wrap with sleeves. Ooh, I've been wanting to do one of those, Tank. I have some of the Premier, I forget what that yarn is called. It came out last year or something like that. It's a variegated, and I want to do one of those hexies in that. All right, I'm gonna show you a picture. So in the middle, you'll see the 3 boys. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the 3 that were convicted. And then right here, you'll see there's a bicycle. That was what one of the boys had. And that over here is kind of in the area where they were found. Some of the investigators and other pictures. Some of the other characters in the story. So, Puro, are you asking how many of us crochet, or how did we learn to crochet? I learned from my mama back 50 years ago or more. And I believe most of us in here do crochet. Okay, so now I'm going to read. I want to go back to what happened and what happened to the boys, okay? On May 5th, 1993, 3 8-year-old boys went missing in the city of West Memphis, Arkansas. Stephen Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers were found the next day in a wooded area along the interstate highway. Their bodies were nude, they were bound, and apparently mutilated. 1 month later, 3 teenagers, Jesse Miss Kelly Jr., Damian Eccles, and Jason Baldwin, were charged with murdering the 3 second graders. Now, I'm going to go back here. There was a better, okay. Now, there are several documentaries, but I do warn you, a lot of the documentaries will show pictures of the boys and the condition that they were found in. So just as a warning, if you watch any of the documentaries, and there's lots of them, there is Paradise Lost, West Memphis 3, Devil's Knot. There's lots and lots of books. The book I referenced, again, is the new book that came out by the lawyer who defended 2 of the boys. And he is now a judge. And he waited a long time to put his story out. The boys were last seen by witnesses around 6:30 p.m. About a half hour later, John Mike Byers, Christopher's stepfather. Hello, me too. Christopher's stepfather, John he goes by Mark Byers, went out to call the 3 boys, and then they began to search. He could not find them, and he began to search. Less than 24 hours later, they were found submerged, and the place where they were found, they're calling it a ditch, they're calling it down along a highway, which it was, but this was a wooded area. This was an area, if you didn't really know where it was, you would have a hard time finding it. And you had to come down an incline on one side to get to it. The bicycle was found laying across a pipe. And that pipe is where the boys used to use, a lot of the kids and people in that area would use that pipe to walk across to the other side. And there used to be fishing done in there, that kind of stuff. We'll get to that, Dartmouth Mom. So one of the boys had a bicycle, and he picked up another boy that went with him, and then they picked up a 3rd boy to go with them, and they walked across that pipe, and they walked the bicycle across the pipe. All right, this article, I thought this one had more information. Let me do something else here. I'll do a different search, because this is not the article that I was looking for. Hey, Arity, just got in from work. Gonna be okay. Absolutely, get you some coffee. So there was a search. There was a definite search. Mark Byers was the first to report something to the police. He had been out looking. He was not able to find them, and he was the first to make a call to the police. The boys were allegedly last seen by 3 neighbors who told them that they had seen them playing together around 6:30 p.m. And they disappeared, and they were seen by a stepfather of one of the boys, Terry Hobbs. And one person said that they saw Terry with the boys. Now, Steve Branch's stepfather calling them to come home. That was Stephen Branch's stepfather, is Terry Hobbs. That's who apparently some of the DNA is from. Initial police searches were limited. Friends and neighbors conducted their own search, which led them to the location where the bodies were later found. A more thorough search began the next morning, led by the Crittenden County Search and Rescue personnel. Searchers canvassed all of West Memphis, but focused primarily on the area where the boys were last seen. Hi, Lorna. And that area of the woods that I was talking about is called Robin Hood Hills. That's the area where I was talking about. 1:40 p.m., juvenile parole officer Steve Jones spotted a boy's black shoe floating in a muddy creek, and that led down into a drainage canal down into Robin Hood Hills. A subsequent search of the ditch revealed the bodies. Now, they're saying that if you watch the documentaries, one of the law enforcement personnel says that he saw the shoe and he was looking around and he slipped and fell farther, kind of fell in, not like all the way in, but sort of slipped down in farther into the water. And he felt something in the water, and when he reached down and pulled it up, it was one of the bodies of the boys. So they were stripped naked and were hog-tied with their own shoelaces. And the way that they were tied was hog-tied. So they were with their hands behind their back and their knees tied to their hands. Their clothing was found there. One of the boys' shirts was actually found under a stick where someone had taken the shirt and pushed the shirt into the mud with the stick. So it was under the stick down in the mud. Their clothing was most of it was turned inside out, and 2 of the boys' underwear were never recovered. Christopher Byers had lacerations to parts of his body, and there was mutilation to his scrotum and his penis. All the boys had scratches on them, and one of them had injuries to his face. There was a lot of talk at this time. Remember when we talked about this last week, that there was this satanic panic going on, and one of the reasons that the 3 boys were arrested, hi Roseanne, was because the investigators, when they saw how the boys were found in the condition they were found, felt like it was a satanic ritual, and they were actually convicted on that very brought forward like as a motive. Several of you are saying stepfather. Now, which of the fathers are we thinking? And which of the documentaries and stories have you read? Stevie's father? So, I'm going to stop for a minute right there. Michael, lurking and cooking, good. Good. Doing some normal stuff today. It helps. Hugs to you, my friend. Hugs to you. I hope it's good stuff. You need the comfort. Eat some comfort food. Good to see you. Yeah, hello, Rosie. So one of the things that was said about there's a lot out there that Terry Hobbs, the stepfather, was mean. Oh no. I think that they were brewing around here, and no, because that stuff was north of me. Yeah, it might have come your way. That's about the right amount of time. I hope it's not too serious, Mimi. So there's a lot of talk about how he was ornery to his wife, that he was ornery to the kids, but his family stood behind him. Terry Cobb's family stood behind him and said, "Oh, he's there. You know, we never saw any of that. We never saw any sign of any of that. He was never. You know, we'll stand behind him 100%." He had a lot of support, and there was no evidence at the time that the 3 young men were arrested. There was no evidence against Terry Hobbs, none whatsoever. It wasn't until later that Terry Hobbs' hair was found on the shoelace, and then it was put off as yeah. She's just soaking it all up, and so are you. It was chalked up to, well, Terry said, well, my hair could, because he was interviewed. And he said, of course, he was at my house all the time. He was with my stepson. So how is it not possible that my hair could be on him and could get put in the shoelace? Hello, Marbell. So they really did not pursue that. It's not until now that it's being pursued. There was also a hair from a black man found on the boys. Well, right around the time frame, and I'm not going to get into the timeline because I don't know it well enough, but right around the time frame that the boys went missing, a black man went into a local fast food place, and he put himself and locked himself into the bathroom, and he had blood, he smeared blood on the wall. He had a cut on his arm, and he went in there and he cleaned himself up and he left, and he had mud and stuff on his pant legs. Hi, Robin. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Well, a hair from a black man was found right there on one of the boys also. So I'm sure they're going to be testing that as well. And then the theory too was that on that ridge behind that ravine where the boys were found, up on that ridge was a truck stop, meaning lots of traffic going in and out and in and out of that area. It's possible someone could come in and do what they did, sneak up on those boys, and then be gone. So a lot of different theories the autopsies by forensic pathologist Frank Peretti indicated that the Byers boy died of multiple injuries, while Moore and Branch died of multiple injuries with drowning. Police initially suspected that the boys had been assaulted. However, later expert testimony disputed this. Trace amounts of sperm DNA were found on a pair of pants recovered from the scene. I did not know that. I don't remember, but then again, and keep in mind, you guys, when I'm talking about things, that I have dyslexia and I have a recall issue. So there's times when I forget certain parts of a story until I'm reminded of it. So I may have known some of this information and have forgotten it. It's just part of my dyslexia. Well, I would say in the 90s that the DNA was still in its infancy as far as how much they were able to test. It's changed a lot since then. In the early 80s is when they very first were looking at blood as a source of any kind of testing. They had fingerprints, and then they went into looking at blood types. Is that Bridget? Hi, Bridget. Different blood types, looking at whether, we talked about this in a case not long ago about whether somebody was a secretor or not a secretor. And then it just sort of advanced to where they started to really pin down DNA, actual DNA. Oh, it's Crochet Queen. I thought it was Bridget. You spent a week with your sister and her family. Oh, well, that's nice. Good to see you. So, prosecution experts claimed that Byers' wounds were the results of a knife attack and that he had been purposely castrated by the murderer. Defense experts claimed the injuries were most likely the result of post-mortem animal predation. All right, now we have to talk about that. So, animal predation could be anything. If a person is killed and is lying out on a mountaintop, for instance, there are any number of animals that might come and do things to the body. They move when the body comes apart. They move the parts around. The clothing, that kind of thing. So anyway, there was testing done that was done by hi Mary. Yes, I think they're innocent. Yes. So it's to an animal, it's just meat, right? From one animal to another animal, it's just meat. And so it doesn't matter to them that it's a person. They don't discriminate. It's all up for grabs. Now, Dan Stidham, the lawyer who wrote the Innocent book, The Harvest of Innocence, he had testing done in preparation for a second trial. And that testing was a theory that was put forward that the animals, like, what animals would have been in this creek where these boys were found? What animals would it have been? And the most logical thing that could have been not fish, but turtles. So he had independent testing done with dummies in water with turtles, and the turtles did exactly the kinds of things that were found on these boys' bodies, which is these marks with their claws. They do have claws on those feet. They had certain marks. And also, when the boys were in the water, certain parts of their bodies that were hanging, like the boys' parts that were hanging, they would grab those and pull them off. And that's most likely what happened to these boys. So these boys actually weren't tortured in the ways that they were trying to portray during the trial. They were not, it was not sacrifice, and they weren't. Now, there it is. Thank you, Tank. Yes. I found, now I do not remember which documentary it is. I want to say that it's the third in the series with Paradise Lost. I want to say it's in the third one. I have seen, I think, 4 documentaries, maybe 5 so far. Oh, I'm always groping for words. She's got me. She sees me groping. She's looking for the word for me. It takes all of us. Okay. I want to go back and talk about the boys, okay? Stephen Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore were all second graders at Weaver Elementary School. They had achieved the rank of wolf in the local Cub Scout pack. Hi, Annie. Scarfing down your dinner. All right. Glad you came by. Steve Branch was the son of Stephen and Pamela Branch, who divorced when he was an infant. His mother was awarded custody and later married Terry Hobbs. Branch was 8 years old, blonde hair. He was last seen wearing blue jeans and a white t-shirt and riding a black and red bicycle. He lived with his mother Pam and stepfather Terry, and had a 4-year-old sister, Amanda. Christopher Mark Byers was born to Melissa DeFur and Rick Murray. His parents divorced when he was 4 years old, and shortly after, his mother married John Mark Byers, who adopted the boys. Byers was 8 years old and had light brown hair. He was last seen wearing blue jeans, dark shoes, and a white long-sleeve shirt. He lived with his mother, Sharon Byers, and his adopted father, John Mark Byers. His stepbrother, Sean Ryan Clark, was age 13. And according to his mother, Christopher was a typical 8-year-old. James Michael Moore was the son of Todd and Dana Moore. 8 years old, brown hair, was last seen wearing blue pants and a blue Boy Scouts of America shirt, and riding a light green bicycle. And he was considered the leader of those three. He lived with his parents and his 9-year-old sister, Dawn. Now, there were 2 other boys that were brought in and questioned early on in the investigation. And I find their stories kind of interesting. It certainly leaves a lot of, like, what's that about? Okay. And their names are Chris Morgan and Brian Holland. These 2 were teenagers at the time, just like the ones who were arrested. They both had drug histories, being arrested for drugs. They had left Oceanside, California 4 days after the bodies were discovered. They left for Oceanside, which I've been to Oceanside actually. Morgan was presumed to be at least casually familiar with all 3 of the boys and had previously driven an ice cream truck in the neighborhood. An ice cream truck. I know. I know. California police sent blood and urine samples from Morgan and Holland back to the West Memphis Police Department. The relevance of Morgan's statement would later be debated in trial, but it was barred from admission as evidence. So Morgan had made a statement and then later recanted it. But he tried to place himself in the middle of what was going on that night when the boys were being searched for. It was said that he and Morgan and Holland both had gone to the house of one of the boys and had sat, and they just kind of inserted themselves into everything. I think they were looking for notoriety is more than anything else, and that's what eventually they decided was the case with the 2 of them. But there was a statement by, hi Ellen, there was a statement by one of the mothers that said that they had come by. The thing is, she's really not too clear what day they came by. It could have been days after, like when they had the memorials and that kind of stuff. Now, for a long time before, when I had watched one documentary quite a while ago, and before I read Mr. Stidham's book and watched more documentaries, I had put a lot of guilt on Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles is the black man that was seen in the Bojangles restaurant, the one I talked about earlier. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Annie. A lot of these killers will do that. They'll insert themselves. They'll be all around everything. The sighting of a black male as a possible alternate suspect was implied during the beginning of the Miss Kelly trial. According to local police officers, on the evening of the 5th, at 8:42 p.m., workers at Bojangles restaurant, located about a mile from the crime scene, reported seeing a black male who seemed mentally disoriented. He went into the ladies' room, was bleeding. He had brushed against the restroom walls. An officer, Regina Meeks, responded to the call in the drive-thru. There's a guy in here and he's bleeding. She just pulls through the drive-thru. What do you got? Well, there was a guy, da 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 da. Well, she's getting these calls about these boys missing, so she says, well, I'll check back. But she doesn't. So the black man leaves. When they come back to look, they have cleaned up everything. There was a piece of something with the DNA from that black man that was kept by the restaurant owner for a long time, but when nobody seemed interested in it, he eventually threw it away. No, I take that back. Sorry, I get things screwed up too. Oh, thank you. Hello, Divergent. How are you? Crystal, right? He saved these little bits of stuff, and he did give an officer went back later. He gave him it to him, but that officer lost it, and that came out during the trial. A hair identified as belonging to a black male was recovered from a sheet that was wrapped around one of the victims. So that's where that hair came in. And I'll bet you that's one of the things that's going to be looked at. Okay. That's where I'm at for today. I don't want to do a ton of we'll work on this more the next time. And I wanted to see what else you guys might want to talk about today. Oh, I lost my hook. Sorry, I dropped my hook. Tired but good. Oh gosh, yes. Is it hot where you are? I bet the heat doesn't help at all. What have we not? Oh, I'm working on this blanket. It's the only blanket I have going right now. I made these squares. I think I had 4 of them from the Granny Square card deck. And then I started working the other cards around it. I deconstructed them by color, and now I have stopped doing that and started just doing regular stripes around as a regular rectangle. Oh, the honor trial. I could not. Thank you. I couldn't. I really could not watch that one. So tell me what happened. The honor trial, the prosecutors couldn't let the jury know that it was an honor attack. Really? Are they saying that was a religious thing? Is that the reason why? Because I don't know that one at all. Went from 97 to 75, and now you're enjoying it while it lasts. Yes. If it were a little cooler, I'd be outside with y'all, but it's just not cool enough. Besides, this is where the Wi-Fi is, so I can do my iPad. Yeah. A disturbing body cam footage of the aunt who had 2 young nieces and nephews in the trunk case from 2021. Unbelievable. That's a matter of someone not checking on those children. Now, had they been adopted by this person? You know, you guys got, I heard several. Now, there was some flooding in New York though, but a lot of people were saying that things had gotten cooler in their area. The mom asked the sister to take them. So the state gave them to her, so they weren't being checked on. Nobody was checking on them. That is some sad stuff. Flooding in North Tennessee too. Okay. It's been crazy how much flooding has happened, and a lot of it, I think, well, I don't really know what the answer is. I don't really know. I saw something the other day. A man who had some property here in Texas in the Kerrville area, big piece of property, and he found 10 people last week, I believe. He found 10 more people from the Texas floods. Robin said 107 today and 111 and 12. Ooh. Oh, well, and the state gave them to her. I can't with them. We are sitting at 89 right now. Quite a difference from our hundreds that we've had. And the boys and I went out and walked. I didn't get to go all the way around. I was just trying to get a little time in. So I got almost to the other end of the field and came back. And Serbs didn't roll. I did take a little bit of footage that will be put in my vlog at the end of the month. So if you guys weren't aware, I am doing a vlog once a month where I put some um, footage together, and I'll try to do like a recap of things that were going on during the month and things that I worked on. Oh, the Canada fires again. Is that like every year? Those Canada fires? Because it seems like it's been every year for the last 2 or 3 years. Oh. You're still at 105 and it's 5 p.m. Jeez. Yeah, we were having fun walking on the fiber ranch. Did you guys see that there was, now I can't with her, I can't listen to it, I can't watch it, can't do it, but did you see that Taylor Shabusiness did an interview from jail? Now, we talked about the Shabusiness thing here. That was some really messed up stuff, and I had to take a deep break after that. Okay? But she did an interview and tells everybody exactly what she did from jail. She is nuts. She is definitely nuts. Northern upstate, you have, oh, so you're sitting right about, oh no, wait, 65. I thought that said 85. I thought you were about like me. 65. Goodness. Huh. She is crazy. You started to watch it? Well, if you do, you're stronger than me, because that is one evil, evil, evil person. She is one argument through and through of someone who just wanted to feel what it was like. Oh, you're welcome, Mona. We'll do some more. We'll get deeper dive into some more of it. I will find a better article before next week, okay? Oh, she's talking gangs, Mimi? So she's in the gangs. Well, she's right where she wants to be. Her father's in a gang. He testified in handcuffs in court. Oh, dear me, Tank. It's amazing that you're here. Yeah, where is everyone watching from? Y'all want to tell us where you're watching from? That would be nice. Thank you, Robin. Now, when I do my monthly vlogs, I will have something special buried in them. So if you haven't watched that vlog, we've got East Texas, Missouri, Jackson, New Jersey, West Virginia, California. Hello, Rose. Northeast Tennessee, Arizona. Hi, Kathy. Minnesota. Minnesota chiming in. It's cooler up there, isn't it? Mary's in Ohio. Mary, have we heard anything about our Ohio trial? Is anything going to happen? What happened with the dad? Delray, California. West Virginia. Putnam County, okay. So you're close to the Canadian border then, Mona. Okay. Pennsylvania. I don't know how to say your first name. Toronto, Bonbon is in Toronto. Florida, Pensacola, where we all want to go and have a vacation. Sherry's sleeping. Okay. Well, you tell her we said hello. Lee said. Okay. Lee said Mendez. Okay. I'll try to remember, but I can't guarantee it. Wow. That's why. If you were the one that said that about the smoke, that's why. Kathy G says, in the 70s, pretty days spent out on your porch. Are you all done with the garden, Kathy? Gosh, I wish I was still canning. I just want to make jelly right now. For some reason, I have the hankering to make jelly. I don't even think I have enough jars anymore because I got rid of a bunch of jars. Okay, so next week we'll talk more about the West Memphis 3. And after the West Memphis 3, you guys, I'm giving very, very big thoughts of doing a book, another book called Scream at the Sky. I have covered it before. I want to go back to the beginning of the podcast when I very, very first started talking crime. Cabbage, cucumbers. Ah, so you're not done yet. You'll be doing pickles. Take a bite out of crime. Matt. Hello, Matt. Hugs to you, my friend. How are you? Yeah, you'll be doing pickles, Kathy. I made cabbage soup yesterday. Good to see you, Matt. What are you up to? Take a bite out of crime. That's funny. Do y'all remember the case that I am talking about? And here's the thing I want to do. I want to go back to Wichita Falls and visit some of the places. Rebecca's driving. Ah, so you can talk. Hello, Rebecca. I very much enjoyed your live last night. Y'all were very busy. Y'all were very busy. Had a good turnout too. So after we do the West Memphis 3, I would like to do the Farian Wardrip story. This would be the serial killer from Wichita Falls, Texas. McDuff, yeah. We had a guy in the Wichita Falls area that worked for the Wichita Falls Police Department, as a matter of fact, that dressed up in the what is that coat, and had McGruff, the crime dog, as a I'm waving at her. He had McGruff, the crime dog. He had and he would talk for the. He didn't do it like a regular ventriloquist would, but. And he went to he went to the overcoat, like the rain overcoat thing. And he would visit all the area schools. He would visit all the Wichita Falls schools, and him and McGruff would go to all the schools and talk about crime and how to, be safe and stranger danger and all of that stuff. It was actually a trench coat, yes. Yep, it was. It was a trench coat. It sure was. Oh, Mimi says a detective did it there. Yep. And then after, here's another thing hello, Jennifer. Here's another one that I wanted to talk about coming up. And that is um, the fried chicken murders. Okay. I sent some information the other day to Mimi. It's down from in her area of the world here in Texas. I want to come back to Texas is what I'm talking about doing, if that makes sense to you guys. So Wichita Falls, and then we'll move from there, we'll move into down around Killeen, Marshall, Longview, um, Tyler, down in that area. Yes, Miss Chris is wonderful, and his wife Karen is a sweetheart. Absolutely, I watch him too. I watch him too. But you know what I'm ready for? I know you guys are gonna go, what? But I am so ready to just be rid of Koberger and Vallow. I'm done with them. I am so done with them. I want them to just rot in jail. Somebody murdered a chicken. Yeah, fried chicken. Yes. So luckily, the murders didn't happen in the chicken place. I knew what you meant, Matt. You too, Lorna? Yes, if you want to know what I'm talking about with Wichita Falls and my story, it's episode 2 of A Stitch in Crime. Okay? Episode 2 of A Stitch in Crime. Oh, Dr. Gary is really good. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of you like Lauren and her husband, the psychologist, but I, I, I can't always with them. Sometimes it's just too much. But Dr. Bricado makes sense to me. Lauren's husband doesn't always make sense to me. You murdered some Indian. Oh, I love Indian food. What did you have? Matt, do I even want to know what you just had? Oh, Mimi. No. No way. No way. The fried chicken murders down there, she said they were found on her uncle EJ's property, and her uncle on her dad's side was reading pumps and found, girl, you're going to have to come on. You're going to have to help me with that one. We'll do it. We're definitely going to do it. Yes, I like Dr. Ann Burgess. Yeah, Dr. Bricado is very smart. I haven't got his book. I didn't get swindled into getting his book, but I heard it was good. My grandmother's dad's mom. 4 houses behind the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yep. Tandoori, garlic naan, lentils, adogabi, all such wonderful stuff. Okay, see, Matt's coming in here talking food. You see that? Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. We must be getting closer to the end because we're talking food. Then we'll be doing 3 goodbyes in a minute. I have some orange chicken in the freezer. So I cleaned out my freezer today. I am so proud of my freezer. Looks so good right now. Don't anybody mess with my stuff in the freezer. I know where everything is right now. I took some stuff that was like 4 years old and freezer burned and threw it out. Um, that's how you roll. Yes, Matt. Sounds like leaving my house, Candy says. Oh, that's funny. Rebel ice cream? I didn't know there was a brand called Rebel. I bought some So Delicious. It is made with coconut milk. I might have that as a snack later. Oh, my freezer needed it so badly. So now I have, like, you know, all the beef on one side and all the chicken on one side. Then I have another spot for all the pork and the sausage and stuff like that is in there, ground meats. And then I put all of the like bagged stuff in the door of the freezer with all the butter and everything. It's all lined up. And then down in the drawer thing, those bags down there are all the bags of like fruit and then the veggies and stuff that I can pull out. Lactose free, 1 gram of sugar, and keto, and now your stomach hurts. Oh, Tank, I'm sorry. I will stay away from that brand. Debbie's been folding laundry, and I'm on your TV. Hi there. Matt says, just go with the Haagen-Dazs. I don't like raisins, though. I like dates, and I like figs. I don't like raisins. Okay, you guys, so that's the schedule. If I'm on live during the week, I will try to do 4 o'clock. If I'm able to be on, it'll be at 4 o'clock. Friday night, we'll do 6. Okay? On the weekend, I'm going to try to do 4 o'clock. However, tomorrow is my day to go with Dad, and we got to go to Oklahoma and get cigarettes. So we will be gone all day. And I will probably be too tired to be here. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing I'll be too tired. Oh. Well, I'm sure rum makes everything better. Oh, thank you. Dad'll be driving and I'll be knitting. So, we don't really have a project going right now as far as like stitch-alongs of any kind. We will, okay? But right now I'm just working on other things. So, if you're wondering about that, just working on other stuff. And I don't know how big I will make this, but I want it to be I always want to try to get them to be at least lap gan size, you know? Okay, you guys, thank you, and I will see you. I may see you tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh, thank you. I got doggies on my band, and then my cover is the sparkly one. Okay, good night, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for being here. I love y'all. Have fun today. Okay? I'll see y'all. Thank you for